This t-shirt is so tight. Hey there, my gorgeous friends on the internet. It's actually morning for once, so thank goodness I'm wearing no pants. I'm all ready to get going. You guys asked for me like tens and thousands of comments. That's a lie. It was like 5 comments of building out last week's web design of the glass website. So I thought that we're gonna do it right now. I'm not sure why. It's pretty simple, but why not? So let's get going. We're gonna head straight into the codes here. So I'm actually gonna link a GitHub so you can get the images that I use there. And this is how the folder is gonna look. Okay, so you're gonna have an index.html, just like that. We're gonna have a style.css, which is empty. We just removed the margins and the paddings on everything. And we have some images that I acquired off the internet. And that's it. So go down to the GitHub right now, get it. All right, then check out my courses as well. Okay, plug. And let's get going. So I'm gonna give you some time to do that. 3, 2, 1, time's up, motherfucker. Okay, so let's get going. Let's open up live server. Open live server. We have nothing. This is what we're going for. All right, so this is the finished one. I'm not gonna focus too much on like aligning things perfectly because that's not the point of it. We just wanna make this glass design, and we also wanna have that blur in the background and everything when we put things in the background and stuff like that, okay? So if this is not perfectly pixel aligned, then screw you. Okay, just to keep things simple, I think I'm only gonna do like the basic glass thing, and then we're gonna code out the content inside, just to keep it simple. Okay, so what I wanna do is actually style up this section here, all right? So the background. So for that, we're gonna create a main section like that, and that's gonna be the background. And then we're gonna have a section called glass, all right? So a section with a class of glass. That's weird to say, which is this, okay? So this whole glass here, all right? This whole section right there. Okay, and after that, so in here, we're also gonna have the dashboard part, and we're gonna have the active games part, so this part here. But we're gonna keep it simple like this, just so we can do the glass thing, style it up, and then we're gonna add the content. What else I'm gonna do actually before we move on is outside of the main here. Actually, I can add it inside here as well, or outside, doesn't really matter. Let's go outside. I'm just gonna add these circles. So I'm gonna say circle 1, I'm gonna copy paste it and say circle 2. Okay, so these circles right here, so we get that effect nice and pretty. Okay, let's head over to our style.css. So it's actually quite simple. We can grab the main here, like that, just like that. I'm gonna add a minimum height to this of 100 VH, like that. All right, so that basically means that it should take up the full space of the monitor right here. Then what we're gonna do is add a background. All right, I'm gonna say linear gradient. So we're mixing up 2 colors. I'm gonna say to right top, which means we go in diagonal. All right, so to right would mean that we go from this part all the way here. But to right top means from down here all the way up there. I think that's the way it is. Hopefully I'm not wrong. Okay, so the colors I'm gonna add is hashtag 65DFC9. I have it written on the other monitor. And the other one is 6CD from baby. All right, those are the 2 colors I picked. So if we go here, we have this beautiful thing. Fantastic. Okay, and I think that's gonna be it here. We can start with the glass. So let's go back here. We can grab the glass. So let's say glass. First of all, I'm gonna add a background of white to this. I'm gonna add a minimum height of 80 VH. All right, so again, it's gonna take up 80% of the screen, just like that. So this is the 20 left. And then I'm gonna add a width because I don't want this to be stretched all the way out. I'm gonna say 60, just like that. What I'm gonna do is actually center it right here in the middle. So to do that, what you can do is just use these 3 properties. Just say display flex, and then you can say align item center. That's gonna align it vertically. And then justify content center is gonna do it horizontally, like that. All right, so now these two don't work if you don't add display flex, so make sure you flex everything. Okay, now this still doesn't look that good. It doesn't look too glassy to me. So what we need to do is add a background, and we're gonna say linear gradient again. Now here's the magic. Here's the magic-a-roo. We can add RGBA. And what RGBA allows us to do is to control the opacity of a color. Okay, so I'm gonna say to right bottom on this one, and I'm gonna say RGBA. We're gonna pick white, so 255, 255, 255, that's white. But the third property here is actually the opacity, which goes from 0 to 1. So if I say 0.7 here, that's gonna be 70% opacity. Add that mother-loving comma after it and say RGBA. We're gonna say 255, 255, 255, 0.3. All right, so 30% luck, 50% skill. Okay, there we go. So now if we take a look at that, we have 70% there and 30% there. Wow. People get excited about this for some reason. Yeah, there we go. So it looks pretty good. You can experiment with this, make it look the way you want. You can add also a border to this to add that little line, that white line. I'm not a big fan of it actually, so I'm just gonna keep it simple like this. What I can do is also add a border radius to make this nice and round. I'm gonna say 2 rem, and basically rem is a certain amount of pixels, so you can just go here and say like 20 pixels. That still works fine. I'm gonna use rem for fun. I'm gonna say 2 rem, and there we go. Now it's all rounded and good looking. Okay, so next up, we're gonna add our lovely circles. I'm gonna say circle 1, circle 2. Now, these basically have the same properties as the glass. So what I'm gonna do is just copy things over from up here. First of all, we need the background white, so I'm gonna copy that over. We're gonna need the gradient, I'm gonna copy that over. And here actually we can add the intensity a bit bigger. I can say something like 0.9 to 0.1, just change it up a bit for fun. I'm gonna add a fixed height to this, 20 rem, and a width of 20 rem, and if I save right now, it's here, but you cannot see it. But to see it, I'm gonna add a position absolute. And when you add a position absolute, now you can move this around wherever you want. So if I say something like, actually what I'm gonna do is, let me just show you. Just go here and say top 5%. So there it is, right there, all right? So it's 5% from the top portion of the screen. If I add something like left 10%, well, it's gonna be pushed 10% from the left side. The thing is though that both circle 1 and circle 2 are together here, and I do not want that. So I'm gonna add the position absolute here. However, I'm gonna select circle 1 separately here. So circle 1 and circle 2, I'm just gonna modify these. So I'm gonna get the top and left, cut, paste down here, and I'm just gonna change this to right. I'm gonna say 15%. All right, so I position it there, and I can get the other circle, so circle 2, and move it somewhere else. I can say bottom, so let's put this 5% down here, and left 10%. All right, so just messing around with this, moving them around for fun, and that should do the trick. Okay, now the problem is that these are actually on top of our main glass, and what I want to do is actually put it behind it. All right, so if I go down here and just add a background color of red, you're gonna see that this is actually, oh, that hurts my eyes. It's actually on top of the glass. I want to put it behind the glass. So the way we can do that is I can go here to the glass and add a Z index. All right, and the bigger the number, the more forward that thing is gonna be. All right, so if glass has a Z index of 3, for example, like that, then it's gonna be pushed ahead. So if this has a z index, the circles have a z index of 2, they're gonna be in the background. All right. If I add 5, well, then it's gonna be forward again because it's a higher number than this. Okay, so I just need to add a z index of 3 here. I think I can go to 2 because the default is 1. So that's fine. All right, so it's behind our glass, which is good. Now, how do I add that blur effect? Super simple. We just need to go to our glass and just say background, filter, and say blur, and just add a number here. So I'm gonna say 2 rem. And it's not working. Why you do this? Why you do this? Refresh. No, I messed it up. Oh, it's not background, backdrop. My apologies. Backdrop filter and blur, and there we go. Now the higher you go here, the more intense the effect is gonna be. So if you go 10,000, 100,000, look at that. You cannot even see the background anymore. So let's just do something small, like 2 rem. I think that looks pretty cool. 2 rem, hit save. There we go. We get the effect. And now we can get rid of this red because I do not want it there. Lovely. Now actually I'm gonna raise up the intensity of this. I'm gonna say 1 here on the circles and 0.5 or something. All right, because I want that effect to kind of pop up there more intensely. Now I also want to make these circles. So what you can do is you can go to the circles here and just add a border radius of 50%. And there we go. Now they're perfectly round. Lovely. Actually, I'm gonna lower the intensity here a bit. It's too strong. 0.8, 0.3. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. It's good. It's good like that. I'm happy. So a lot of people mess this up and they're like, Ed, my border radius is not a circle. And I added 50%. Well, be careful because it's not gonna work if your height and width are different. So if my width is like 50 rem and the height is 20 rem, you're gonna get this weird shape. All right, so you need to make sure that your height and width are the same. So the border radius 50% is gonna work. All right. Or if you're smarter than me, you can just download the SVG and just import it as an image and not try to do it with divs, but whatever, dude. Okay, so we are done. We have our little glass and we have our circles as well. We can go back to our index.html and start coding it up a little bit. So again, what I want to do is add the dashboard here. So this part and this part. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, so inside the glass here, what I want to do is add a dashboard div, just like that. And here in the dashboard, we're gonna have 3 things. We're gonna have the user section, so this. We're gonna have the links, and we're gonna have this, I don't know, pro, join to become a pro section. So 3 sections. So we're gonna create 3 divs. Okay, so let's go and create 3 divs. We're gonna create the user section, and in here, we can navigate to image, and we're gonna go to images, and we need to get the avatar. Okay, that's a picture of me, included for free. You're welcome. I'm gonna write my name here. Also make sure you join my OnlyFans, link in the description. We're gonna add a paragraph to say pro member, like that. Lovely. All right, so after the user, we're gonna have the links. So I'm gonna create a links section, links, like that. And in here we have multiple links. I'm gonna say link div. And in this link div, we have an image. All right, I'm gonna just drop random images. Let's do the Twitch. I'm gonna add a H2 that says streams. And I'm just gonna copy this 3 more times. So this whole link, copy, paste it, paste it, paste it. And we're just gonna modify the text here. So streams, that's the first one. Then we have games. Then we have new. And then we have library. Okay, and then we're gonna just modify the images. So I'm gonna go here, grab Twitch and say Steam. This one I'm gonna change it to upcoming. And this one I'm gonna change to library. And hit save. All right, so there we go. That's what we have, that's good. And finally, after this whole links section, so go here up where you have links and click on it. That's gonna give you a good indication of where the div ends. So click on links and here it ends. So I can go after it and just add the pro button, pro. Here I'm gonna just say join pro for free games. Okay, image, and I'm just gonna add the controller here, like that. Okay, and last up, what we have is the section right here. So we just have basically a title. I mean, I added like a search bar here, but it's super simple to do. I guess we're gonna throw up a super simple example. And the cards, all right? So it's super easy. Okay, let me see where I am. So after the pro ends here, if I click on this one, this is the whole dashboard. Okay, so after the dashboard, right here, right above the section, we're gonna create a games div. And here we have the status. All right, so status being this part, and then we're just gonna add the cards. So I'm gonna add a h1 saying active games. I'm gonna add the input, which is gonna be our search input, like that. And after this, we're gonna create the cards. So cards, like that. And here we have multiple cards again. So card, image. I'm gonna grab the, let's do the Assassin's Creed, like that. And inside here, so we have our image. Let's take a look. So we have the card, we have the image right here, but we also have, kind of imagine splitting this up into 3 more sections. Okay, so the card contains the image, the text and the progress bar, and the percentage. Okay, so the image, I'm gonna create a section for the card info basically. So another div, h2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Terrible game, by the way. I played like 5 hours of it and it's incredibly boring. I eventually ended up playing Sackboy: Great Adventure, which is a fantastic game. I don't know what people are doing with Assassin's Creed, man. It's like, oh, go get me my sword. I got the sword. I beat like 10 people. Super boring. I have to travel with the horse. Oh, thank you for giving me the sword. Here's 10 shekels. Quest completed. Wow, that was boring. Okay. So in here, we also have a progress bar. Progress, like that. Just a super simple empty div. Now after the card info, we have a percentage. So let's do h2. I'm gonna give it a class of percentage. I'm gonna say 60%, like that. Okay, so this part here. Okay, and we are pretty much done. I think we just need to copy and paste this card multiple times and we're good. So grab the card, click on the card div, just grab this whole thing and copy it 2 more times. 1, 2. Now we can change the text and everything and the images eventually, but we're good for now. All right, so this is what we have. Wow. Okay. Before we jump into the CSS, you know what they say? We need to take a break because we need to stand up. Sitting too much is unhealthy. So tune the music. I feel much better. let's continue. I apologize. Okay, where are we? Let's see. Okay, so we have our dashboard. Now, if you take a look at this dashboard, it's still pretty much the same glass design. All right, it's still glass. So we just need to kind of duplicate it. Before we do that, I want to have this dashboard on left side and the games on the right side. So how do we do that? Well, we can use flex again. So basically, again, what flex does is it basically takes the content that you have and puts it all horizontally. All right, so if we have our dashboard and we have our games sitting like this, one beneath each other, adding flex is gonna put everything vertically. So all the child elements are gonna be put vertically. Okay, so we're gonna see that in just a bit. So all we need to do is go back here to the glass and just add a display flex and hit save. Okay, so let's see. So as you can see, it just takes the two divs and puts them vertically. Okay, so now that we have that, we can have additional fun. So how do I allocate space as well? Maybe I want this to be smaller than this section. Well, we can use flex. So I can go here and just grab the dashboard. And if you use the flex 1 property, that basically takes up all the available space left. So it is going to take up all the space left. Now it cannot take up all the space here because the other content starts, but it just takes up the available space. If you add flex 1 to the games as well, so if I go here and say games and say flex 1, now the space is going to be split equally. All right, so both of them are going to have kind of like width 50% and width 50%. Now what if I want this to be twice as big as this? Well, then I can add flex 2 to the games, and now this one has twice the amount of space as this. Okay, that makes no sense. Okay, so let's go here to the dashboard, and again I'm gonna add a display flex to this. Now again, as you can see, as soon as I add display flex, it just puts all the content there horizontally, but I do not want that. So I can actually change the flex direction to column, which is gonna put it back. Okay, so why did we do that though? Like, isn't this a waste of code? Why did I add display flex to put it horizontally and then just flex direction column to put it back the way it was? Well, we do this because otherwise we cannot use align items and justify content. Those two properties do not work if you don't add display flex. All right, so now I can say align items center like that, and look at that, it centers it perfectly. I can also add justify content, I can add space evenly, and boom, boom, boom. All the content is nicely placed in a super easy way. Okay, next up, I want to also align the text here to the center. So I'm gonna say text align center, like that. All right, just aligns it nicely there. Okay, that's good. Let's see what else. I also want to add the linear gradient that we used here. So go up to the glass and copy the linear gradient and paste it to the dashboard. Look at that, there we go. We can also add the border radius to rem, and perfect. Lovely. And I think that's it. That's it right here. Next up, we can grab the link. I can add display flex to this again, just like that. I'm just gonna add a bit of margin to rem, 0 rem. All right, just paste these out a bit of padding, 1 rem, 5 rem, like that. I'm gonna add an align items to center. There we go. Next up, I'm gonna grab the link H2 and just add a bit of padding again. Padding, 0 rem and 2 rem. All right, just space these out a bit. Okay. Super cool. All right, then we have our games with the flex 2, so that's fine. We need to kind of fix up this section right here. So I'm gonna say Pro. I'm gonna add a background of white. Actually, I don't need a background of white. We can just copy over the linear gradient that we used up here on the main. So copy that over, paste it down here. There we go. We can add our border radius again. Border radius 2 rem. Like that. The color of the text is gonna be white. Like that. I'm gonna add a bit of padding to it. Padding 1 rem. Just like that. We can mess around with this again. We can do like display flex. If you want to do it that way. Yeah, you can kind of mess around with this and position it the way you want. I'm gonna leave it simple like this. But that kind of looks bad. I think this looks better here. All right, we're gonna mess around with this. I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. Actually, you know what? What we can do is, I'm just gonna do this really quickly. I'm just gonna grab the image, Pro image. I'm gonna add a position absolute to this and place it the way I want it exactly. So as you can see, when you add position absolute, it kind of jumps out of this thing. And if I add something like top minus 10% and right 10% to it, it's not gonna behave based on this div. So if you want it to be relative to the box in here, you just go up to the Pro div and add position relative. So as you can see now, it's top minus 10 from this div. Okay. Okay, that's good. Let's see what else we're gonna do. Oh, what I want to do is actually kind of collapse this text because it's on one line. So I'm gonna just grab the Pro H2 and just add a width of like 40% to it. There we go. So it kind of stretches it out a bit more vertically. Okay, now this is not gonna look good, but we're gonna add, let's actually just go up here and just change up the fonts and everything because everything looks so ugly. Yeah, let's just go all the way up here. Let's actually head over to Google Fonts. I forgot to copy this over. We need the Poppins, I believe we used. Poppins. I'm gonna grab regular. I'm gonna grab medium and bold as well. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna use. So I'm just gonna copy this over and paste it up here. Like that. Hit save. And now up here in the style, we can just grab the H1, style this up a bit. You can say color. Let's do 4266. What is this? 69. 6 nice. Okay, there we go. The font weight 600. I just picked out everything that we did in Figma basically. The colors, the sizes, and everything. So font size 3 rem. And we actually did the opacity of 0.8, so it's not that intense, because I feel like just removing a bit of the opacity on this glass design makes it look a bit better. Because glass is also, you know, it's not fully solid, you can see through it, it's opaque. So I feel like it works better with removing the opacity a bit. H3, I think we have the same color here, same font weight. I'm gonna copy it over and the same opacity. There we go. I'm just not gonna change the font size here. Let's do H2 as well up here. Keep everything a bit organized. Color here, I'm actually gonna pick a less intense one. 65 8 EC6. All right, the font weight is gonna be 500. Again, I'm gonna do the opacity trick. All right, I'm gonna basically just add a comma here and also add the paragraph. And that should be good. Lastly, I'm gonna copy over the font family in the main here and just add Poppins. Okay. So there we go, it looks much better. Now here the text is still scuffed. So let's go here to the Pro H2. We're gonna change the color to white. Color white. Like that. And the font weight to 600. Like that. And that looks much better. Okay. Now let's get this going, this section here, the game section. Click, click, click. All right, I'm gonna leave a note here so you know. This is the games section. Just like that. So we're gonna grab our status. I'm gonna add a margin to it. Margin bottom, 3 rem. Push the content down a bit. Then I'm gonna grab the status input. All right. And I'm gonna add a glass look to it again. So scroll back up, grab this background from the glass, paste it down here, save. There we go. Now there's that stupid border that we need to remove. So border, none. There we go. I'm gonna stretch out the width to like 50%. There we go. I'm gonna add a bit of padding to it, 0.5 rem. All right, make it thicker. And border radius is gonna be 2 rem just to make it round and nice looking, just like that. Okay, now we're gonna grab the whole game section. So again, the game section here contains this section and the card section. So if we grab this and add display flex, again, it's gonna put everything horizontally, right? But we don't want this. So we're gonna say flex direction, column. So it's back. But what we can do is just add justify content space evenly, like that. All right, so now it spaces this evenly with this. Okay. Am I missing something here? Let's add a margin to this. 5 rem. All right, there we go. Can kind of separate it from this part of the screen here. Okay. Let's do the cards. So I'm gonna grab the card, display flex, again. There we go. The background, we're gonna add a linear gradient again. And I'm gonna do kind of the same thing to left top, comma, RGBA, 255, 255, 255. I'm gonna do 1 here, comma, RGBA, 255, 255, 255, 0.8. All right, so I'm gonna do almost a perfectly white colored card. I'm just gonna have a slight opacity to it towards the top here. All right, so I'm gonna show you why I do this. I'm gonna add a border radius first of 1 rem to round it up. Also a bit of margin, so 2 rem top, 0 rem left and right, like that. A bit of padding too, so 2 rem, so you can see it. All right, so as you can see here, it's a bit opaque, but here it's fully white. So the reason why I do this is because for this glass design, I like to add a bit of drop shadow on the cards, which gives it a kind of like a 3D effect, like it pops out. So let me just show you what I mean. I'm gonna say box shadow here. I'm gonna say 6 pixels, 6 pixels, 20 pixels. So 6 pixels basically represents the XY position of the shadow. So where do you want it to be? So down here, up here, left here, etc. The 20 pixels represents the amount of blur. All right. So if you want it to be more blurry, you add more right here. So I'm just gonna pick a grayish color with a 0.2 opacity. So as you can see, we just kind of add a pop effect to the card. Now, if we would pick a super glassy look here, so 0.2 and like 0.5, the opacity on the card, it would look super weird. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. Never mind. That doesn't look too horrible. I guess, I mean, let's just do it, but not that intense. So anyway, what I want to do though the shadow is more here on the right side, right? So right bottom side. So that's where I want more white to be. So it kind of hides this weird grayish look. Because if I raise up the opacity of this, as you can see, it starts looking very weird underneath the card. You get that weird gray looking card. Whereas where it's more white, basically it doesn't pass through. So I guess we can do it. I just want the white to be down here. So I'm gonna raise this up to 0.8. And I guess we can lower this to 0.5 or something like that. So let's bring the opacity down to like 0.2. So something like that. And look at that, we have this nice, interesting card popping out effect. Okay, fantastic. What else do we want to do here? Let's see, card. Did we add display flex? We did. Where's my percentages? I don't see them. I don't see my percentages. Did we not add them? Let's see. Yes, we did. Card, percentage, 60%. Where is you? Okay, let me remove the display flex to see. Okay, it's there. So I guess, oh, here it is. I'm stupid. Never mind. Okay, so what else I want to do is just add a justify content of space between. Like that, all right? So it just gives a bit of space between all of the elements. There we go. Next up, what we want to do is create the progress bar. Progress. I'm just gonna basically add the linear gradient again. Copy. Paste. All right, and then we're gonna add a width of 100% and a bit of height to it. Let's do 25%. All right, so we just have a nice little progress bar here. Gonna add a bit of border radius. Let's do 1 rem. There we go, perfect. So now what I want to do is actually add a bar here so it doesn't look like it's fully filled up. So how do we do that? Well, what we can do is do a little life hack. We can say progress after, like this. So this is a pseudo element that we can use, and we can basically generate some additional styling to add on this input. So what I can do is just say content, like that, and just add an empty pair of quotes. And you basically need to do this every time you create a progress bar, all right? Not every time you create the progress bar. What am I talking about? Every time you add the after or before pseudo element. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So again, what we can do is just generate a new div, kind of like that. So I can just add a width of 100%, a height of 100% here, a background, I'm gonna pick a gray color, RGB, like that, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 6. Okay, add a position absolute to this. Wait, let me see if we can see it. So there it is. All right, so we just basically generated a div out of thin air. So I added position absolute to this, so I can go up here and add a position relative. All right, so it fills up the whole section right there. So what I can do now is just move it left 60%, all right? So left 60%. And there we go. Actually, I think it's the other way I need to do it. Left 40%. Actually, I think right 60%. I don't know, I never get these right. I just mess around until it looks okay. No, that's not okay. It should be left 60, like that. Well, that doesn't look filled up. Oh, okay, so as you can see, it's correct. It's just the gray bar kind of goes kind of leaves this section, right? So if I add 200 here, right, it kind of leaves this div. But what I want to do is actually add overflow hidden to the progress, and now it disappears. So it's only gonna show up in here, right? So if I add left 60 now, as you can see, the additional content is clipping now, so it doesn't leave this section. All right, so now it shows correctly 60%. Okay, that's good. Whew, it's getting long. How long? We are 41 minutes, fantastic. All right, let's grab the card info and finish this up. We can add a display flex direction column, and justify content space between. All right, just give a bit of spacing between these so everything is nicely aligned up. All right, and then we can mess around with the percentage if we want to for fun, and we are done. Percentage. I'm gonna add a font weight of bold, like that, so it's nice and big. I guess we can copy over the linear gradient here, and then it's not gonna work because linear gradient doesn't work with CSS. Lovely, so there we go. So how do I clip this so it shows up on the percentage there? Well, you just add the background linear gradient like that, and then you go down here and say WebKit background clip text. All right, so now it clips the background to the text. And finally, what you need to do, so basically we have the text now, that's blue, but behind it we have the linear gradient background. So now all we need to do is say WebKit text fill color, and we just add transparent to the text. So now only the background shows up with the linear gradient. And there we go, we have linear gradient on our text. And that's it. That's kind of the whole shebang. Did I miss anything? I hopefully not. I guess we can go here and change the images. So Assassin's Creed, we can go here and say Sackboy, we can go here and say Spider-Man. Let's change this to Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and we can change this to Sackboy, A Great Adventure, like that. And yeah, should be good. There we go. You can change up the percentages if you want, have fun, mess around with these graphs. And that's kind of the whole idea behind this. Whew, long episode. Why do I look so dark? We're going to heaven. Is this good content? Okay, there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Next episode, I actually want to do a workout routine. I know, it's kind of weird. The perfect skin tone. There we go. I'm still struggling with my, I wouldn't want to say injury, with my chronic pain. So I want to do like a whole workout based on keeping good posture and helping people that sit a lot on the chair and stuff like that. So let me know if you want to see that, because I feel like it's helping me. I developed a whole routine already a few months ago that I feel like it's helping. So anyway, what am I talking about? Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, kiss your mom for me.